This is the GTN Show, and this week I'm going to be talking about what we think about when we're training and racing to get the most out of ourselves, and the fact that we may be doing it all wrong. I'm also going to be answering some of those common questions that we received on our videos this week, a couple of pros that have been spotted on brand new bikes, and loads of exciting race news. Right, so what goes through our minds as competitors is a really interesting topic, and particularly what goes through our minds to get the most out of ourselves during training and racing when the going gets tough is even more interesting. Now, I feel like I'd figured out a really good method for this for my own racing. So when the going gets tough, I would try to think about some of those more technical aspects. So for instance, if I'm running, it might be that knee drive, the heel flick, and I'd also try to break the race down into stages. So rather than think of it as like a half marathon, a 21.1 kilometer run off the bike, I try and break it down into smaller sections, say 5 kilometer sections or landmarks along the way. That way, there's these small goalposts and it's not quite as overfacing as saying 21.1 kilometers. But I'm really interested to see how other people do this. So we've been to ask the pros, both in triathlon and in the running world.
I think it's different with in training sessions. I always focus on my splits. So I suppose you're so in the moment of working out exactly where you should be at the right time. In races, I do the complete opposite. I avoid splits entirely and just focus on my position within the race. So if I'm with a little group of people, I'll just keep saying to myself, right, stay, as in to stay in that spot that I'm in. And almost just mentally prepared for some point in the race it's going to pick up, so almost cover the gaps, and just my focus then is almost on position of the girls around me rather than splits. So yeah, completely different mentality from training to racing.
Yeah, I think I'm very much the same as your race mode. Like I'm just tapping into that deep dark place of just that feeling of like, I think you want that pain, like when it's hurting. You get to a point where you're numb, and I always think that the sooner you can reach that point, and then it's just hanging on, like not the feeling. And my coach Michelle Dillon, she always has this thing at me. She's like, when your legs are screaming, scream back at them. So in my head, that's my mental screaming. I don't do it out loud.
Well, that is really interesting, but I thought I'd take things to the extreme. So I was trying to think of an event where you've got a lot of time to think and a lot of time to yourself. And that's where ultramarathon running sprung to mind. And conveniently, we've got an ultramarathon runner, a friend of the channel who lives quite close by, and that is Holly Rush. She's an international GB ultramarathon runner who, well, she has a lot of time to think to herself, especially when the tough gets going. So here's what she thinks about.
I'd have to probably break that down into two, because racing and training is different for me. As you know or may not know, I race long distances. So I've literally just come back from a 31-hour race. So I thought about a lot of things in that time, and my thoughts vary from the beginning, middle and the end. So at the beginning, it's all about the race, like how I feel about myself, the process, how my body feels. In the middle, you're just sort of getting settled, just trying to think out where you are, maybe in the race, where you are competitively, how you're feeling. And then the back end of the race, especially this last one, it's all about keeping your mind and body together, and the mind wanders a lot in ultras. You have the added complications of hallucinations, which I had this time, so you're never quite sure what you're actually thinking or seeing, and so that adds something extra in. And then also we have the problem of low blood sugar, etc., and that can cause problems. So yeah, my thought process has changed, but I try and live in the moment. I know that's a bit of a cliche, but that's all I can do in ultras, because you just never know whether you're going to finish at all.
Now, the reason I'm talking about this today is because of an interesting study that looked into just this, and they claim they found a way of making training and racing easier. Yeah, it's a bold claim. Now, it's come from a new paper called Motivation and Emotion, and they've looked into something called cognitive reappraisal. And don't worry, I hadn't heard of it either. It's basically a way of thinking. It's quite a different approach. So rather than just distracting ourselves from the pain, we should try to view it in a more dispassionate way. So we are essentially looking down upon ourselves, like we're observing the observer. And this is what they did. I'm going to grab my laptop for this. Now, The researchers, including Grace Giles and other members of the cognitive science team at the US Army Natick Soldier Research Development and Engineering Center in Massachusetts, they recruited 24 healthy runners, and each of them had to complete a 90-minute run at 75 to 85% of their maximum heart rate. On one occasion, they were brought in and they were given no distraction, they just ran as they normally would. On a second occasion, they come in and they are given a distraction, or they're told to distract themselves from the pain. Then on a third occasion, they employ this cognitive reappraisal, so almost like a detached attitude. And the results are really interesting. And actually they back up previous findings from other research, which suggests that the distraction method doesn't really work, which kind of blows my method out of the water. But what they did find is that the dispassionate approach to this cognitive reappraisal had some really big impacts on the performance and people's perceived effort of exertion level. And yeah, it's quite a tricky one to get your head around. And I'd actually say that quite a lot of us triathletes, we're wired a little bit different from most of the population out there. And actually, perhaps we enjoy that pain. So maybe this method doesn't work for all of us. But either way, I'm actually going to give this a go in my next running session just to see how it feels, if it works at all. And if you like, give it a go as well and let us know how you get on in the comments section below. Right, so I'm going to roll straight from that into the poll this week and ask you guys, what do you think about during training and racing when the going gets tough? So do you embrace the pain? Do you distract yourself from the pain? Or do you, like me, break the race down into small bite-sized chunks, or do you do something completely different? And we'd love to hear what that is, so drop that in the comments section below. But to enter that poll, just click up here. But now for last week's poll, where Heather asked, are you addicted to triathlon? And I believe you could go to our website and fill out a little questionnaire to find out if you are. So 29% of you said no. So that leaves a staggering 71% of you are addicted to triathlon. Good luck to you all. I mean, maybe I'm fighting it, but I don't think I'm addicted to triathlon, but then I do present for GTN, so who knows. But yeah, very interesting. If you are addicted, then yeah, best of luck. Okay, now for a little question time. And I've picked out a few of the common questions that I saw on our videos this week. And one of those came in from Jonas Gontoro, and they said, when I tried to tuck my head in, the water went into my nose. It felt so bad and terrible. Any suggestions? So he's referring to our flip turn video. And yeah, this is a really common question, something I've seen time and time again. When you're doing the flip turn, the water goes up your nose, because basically you are going upside down through the movement of the flip turn. And if you don't do anything about it, then the water is going to go up your nose, which is why we suggest trying to trickle your breath out so you've got a constant stream of bubbles coming out of your nose. But I do understand when you're trying to combine a flip turn and trying to think about breathing out through your nose, it's a lot to think about and perhaps doesn't all happen. So try breaking it down into steps. So before you even focus on the flip turn, let's think about the breathing. And a good way of practicing this is with something called sink downs or mushroom sinks. So all you need to do for this is find a bit of space in the pool in relatively deep water, and you want to curl yourself into a ball, into what we call a mushroom shape. And you'll find that you float at this point, and then I want you to start letting your breath out just gradually through your nose, so you've got this trickle and a constant stream of bubbles coming out. And as you do that, you'll find that you start to drop and drop and drop and sink down in the water. When you hit the bottom, just push yourself back up, take a breath, and you can just keep repeating that over and over. And the idea is that you build this confidence up with trickling the breath out and how to do it, and then you can start building that back in to the flip turn and essentially putting it all together. Now on for the next question, and this one came in from Horia Popan, and they said, interestingly, Frodo talks about sharing the work on the bike in a non-drafting triathlon. Did I miss something? It used to be every man for themselves. And there's been loads of comments on this, and I've seen this time and time again in various other videos that we've done. And yeah, we've talked about groups, pace lines, packs during non-drafting triathlon. A non-drafting triathlon, we shouldn't be drafting on the bike. But let's break this down as well. So let's think about the drafting rules. So every race sets a distance. So Ironman, for example, it's 12 meters currently, and other events are trialing out 20 meters and so on. That doesn't mean that there's a magic 12 meters and drafting doesn't happen. Actually, you'll still get a drafting effect at 12 meters and even beyond 12 meters, which is why some of these events are trying to push more for the longer distance, the 20 meters. But what this means is that if you are 12 meters behind someone, yes, you might be putting out 10, 20 watts less than that person in front, and therefore it's an easier ride. But you're still within the rules. It's very important. You are still within the rules. You're not going within those 12 meters. So these packs form, they're all 12 meters apart, and they try to share the workload. So the person will take turns going onto the front, pushing the pace. And this is really important when you've got, say, someone like Sebastian Kienle and Lionel Sanders joining teams further back down the field. They come out of the swim further down, and they'll work together. They'll be 12 meters apart, and they're trying to catch back up to someone like Jan Frodeno further up through the field. But Jan Frodeno is also trying to do the same. He's working in a pack with a few other athletes, and they're trying to hinder them from catching up. They're still within the rules. And yes, I do get you. It's meant to be every man for themselves. It should be an individual sport, which is why some of these events are trialing out this 20 meters distance, but they are within the rules. I need to make that very clear, and I think I have. Breaking news, we filmed the show yesterday, but we've had to jump back in this morning because we have spotted that Jan Frodeno is out of the Ironman World Championships. He has suffered a stress fracture to his hip just over a week after his phenomenal performance at the Ironman 70.3 World Championships in South Africa, where he posted a 66-minute half marathon, which is unbelievable. But sadly, it does mean he's going to be out of the race in Hawaii coming up in just over a month's time. And a real shame, because we were looking forward to a massive showdown between him, Sebastian Kienle, Lionel Sanders, Gomez, Patrick Langer, and numerous other athletes. But this does change the dynamic of the racing, so it's still very exciting, and it does open up the doors for all these other athletes. But now on with the rest of the show. If you've been watching the Tour of Britain this past week, you may have noticed Primož Roglic's bike that he rode in Stage 5 in the team time trial. In fact, that bike helped them to win that stage and put him in the lead by just 6 seconds. It was the new Bianchi Aquila CV TT bike in Bianchi's famous colours. It included their proprietary Countervail anti-vibration technology, which actually originally came from NASA. And the idea behind this is all to do with the carbon fibre layout, and it helps to minimise vibration and make the frame stiffer. Now, it was a very nice bike. I'd love to see it in person, but I am struggling to think of a triathlete that's sponsored by Bianchi. So we'd love your help. So if you can think of a pro triathlete sponsored by Bianchi, do let us know in the comments section below. But one that we do hope that we'll get to see soon is that of Cameron Worth. Now, Cam Worth was racing at Challenge Almere this weekend. He placed second, and in doing so, he set a new bike course record. But it was his bike that really caught my eye. Now, he was riding a Pinarello, but this one appeared to have disc brakes. Now, it's the first TT bike we've seen from Pinarello with disc brakes, and we do wonder if there's any more design changes and variations to the design compared to its previous model, but we'll just have to wait and see. A final bit of news comes from Ironman again, and this is around their title sponsor for the Ironman World Championships, which are coming up in just a month's time out in Hawaii. And their title sponsor is Amazon. Now, the idea with this is that they've got a page on the Amazon website devoted to Ironman athletes going to the Ironman World Championships for them to get their nutrition and supplement supplies. But in the past, there have been some worries and risks involved with buying supplement products on the internet and then perhaps not being legal. All these products that are going to be on this page are certified, so it's eliminating any risk for those athletes, and very good idea. Well, now for the race news, and we're going to start with Ironman Wales, one of the toughest Ironman branded events out there. Now, in the men's race, it was Phil Graves that established an early lead out of the swim. He got 2 minutes and 20 seconds over Matt Troutman coming out of the water. And appeared he took his time going through transition. That actually allowed Matt Trautmann to catch some valuable time. But Matt Trautmann put in a very impressive bike performance to catch up to Phil, and the duo then worked really well together. In fact, so well that they had a 10-minute lead over third place going into T2. Out onto the run, Matt Trautmann sped away to take the win overall. Phil Graves hung on to second, and in third it was Gustavo Rodriguez. And in the women's race, it was Camilla Pedersen that also established an early lead onto the bike. And she just powered away from the rest of the field, away from Heather Wortel and Nikki Bartlett. But further back through the field, it was Lucy Gossage doing a solo effort, powering her way up to the front of the race. And she managed to catch up with Camilla Pedersen by the end of the bike. In fact, she put 4 minutes into her. Onto the run, Lucy managed to maintain that and carried on to take the win. Camilla Pedersen took second, and then Nikki Bartlett had a fantastic race to take third. And now for Ironman Wisconsin, which was a female-only pro race, and it was Robin Pomeroy and Katie Thomas that led out of the water, and then 3 minutes and 21 seconds back was Lindsay Corbin. Now she absolutely smashed the bike. She caught up and took the lead at around 20 miles, and she continued that onto the run to take the win overall and setting a new course record of 9 hours and 12 minutes. So she took the win overall. In second place, it was Jenny Hansen, and in third place, it was Katie Thomas. And then we had Ironman 70.3 Rügen, and in the men's race, it was Florian Angert that led the swim out with a small group around him. And then 45 seconds back, we had the current Ironman world champion, Patrick Lange. Now, Florian flew away on the bike, and then a small chase group formed behind, including Horst Reichel and Patrick Lange. But that group failed to catch or even reduce that gap to Florian. In fact, he came off the bike with a 4-minute lead. He continued that to take the win. In second, it was Patrick Lange, and in third, it was Horst Reichel. And in the women's race, it was the Laura Phillips show. She put in a very impressive bike performance to take the lead and continued that onto the run to post the fastest run split of the day. She took the win overall. In second place, it was Claire Hahn, and in third place, it was Laura Zimmerman. Well, then over to Ironman 70.3 Santa Cruz, and in the men's race, it was a very impressive performance from Erik Lagerstrom, who is a relative rookie to the longer distances, having come from ITU Racing. He led out the swim, posted a very good bike split to lead off the bike and maintain that onto the run to take the win overall. It was Ben Hoffman that took second, and in third, it was Justin Metzler. And just to give you a depth of the field and just how impressive Eric's performance was, in fourth place, it was Carl Buckingham, and in fifth place, it was James Kunema. And in the women's race, it was Sarah Crowley to take the win overall, but in doing so, she had to hold off a very fast-moving runner, and that was Paula Finlay. In third place, it was Skye Munch. And now for the caption competition, and last week's caption photo came from the Ironman 70.3 World Champs, where we had some rather, less than ideal weather conditions, and these two chaps are looking rather sorry for themselves in their foil blankets trying to keep warm. And some great captions coming in. We had one from Martin Kelly said, "Thanks for the hand, but I'd rather have your bike." Kieran Remitsky said, "Excuse me, sir, I'm from the TFP, Triathlon Fashion Patrol. Where exactly do you think you're going with those shoelaces?" That's a good spot there, some different colour shoelaces, pretty wild. Shifpa said, "Oh mate, how often have I told you have to do the bike before you run?" Very good, but the winning one this week came from Dom Luis, and he said, "High five to power up some warmth, dude." So yeah, great stuff. You are the winner of the GTN swim cap, so do get in touch and we'll send it out to you. But now for this week's caption comp photo, and again, it's from the Ironman 70.3 World Champs, and well, let me know what you think. I see what the photographer was trying to do here. They were hoping that cyclists would be just a little bit further over and over that white line, but either way, it's a great photo. I think we get what they were trying to do there. So do let us know what you think and put your captions in the comments section below. Well, now my chance to go through some of those photos that you guys have sent us in. So this one is from Sarah. It's from Vansbro in Sweden, and it is part of the largest open water event in the world. She said, She thought it's amazing to see the number of volunteers and the floats built to ensure the safety of the swimmers. The distances vary from 1 kilometre to 10 kilometres. Very cool. I think I might have to investigate and look into that myself. Next one from Mohammed, and this is coming in from Bahrain. He says, 2 brothers that are neighbours training for Ironman 70.3 Bahrain, having completed Ironman Texas in April this year. Yeah, they've got their Specialized Shiv on one turbo trainer, and then they've got their Canyon Speedmax CF on the other turbo trainer. But I do notice only one of those has a Zwift setup. So does the other one just sit there rather bored whilst the other has fun on Zwift? I don't know. But still, a very impressive pain cave. Moving on now. This one is from Wayne, and this has come from Capel Kerig. This is the swim start for the Snowman Sprint Triathlon in August, and they said it's their favourite race this year. Fantastic. Look at that, the mountains behind, the clouds going through them. And now, final one is coming from Vitalogis, and this is their Cannondale Synapse. It's coming from Lithuania. It's the last and 7th stage of their Lithuanian Triathlon World Cup, and to top it off, they got a PB. And I'm wondering, is that you in the photo with a cracking beard there? Looks very good beard. Also wondering why you've got a race wheel on the back and then a normal wheel on the front. Did you get a puncture as you were racking the bike up? Be interesting to know. Let us know in the comment section below. Great looking through all those photos, and we'd love to get more from you guys. So as always, do keep sending them in, and you can do that using our GTN photo uploader. That is really straightforward, and you can find the link for that in the description below. Well, that is it for the GTN show this week. Thank you for watching it. And as you can probably tell, we are starting to gear up for the Ironman World Championships in Hawaii, just a month away. And we are lucky to be heading out there again. And if you'd like to suggest any videos for us to do, to feature whilst we're out there, do drop them in the comments section below. But for now, hit that thumbs up button if you liked this show. And if you'd like to see more videos from GTN, just click on the globe and subscribe. If you'd like to see our flip turns video and how to do them, just click here. If you'd like to see our maintenance special video with Calvin from Park Tool, just click here.